Welcome to the Displaced DieHards podcast, recorded at 2420 Studios in Owensboro, Kentucky. Download a new episode of the podcast every Friday at DisplacedDieHards.com. Follow us on Twitter at DieHards Podcast. You can also listen to the podcast on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. And as always, watch us Saturday at 10 p.m. on Time Warner, Channel 72. Yippee-ki-yay.
Displaced DieHards.
Displaced DieHards.
I am a Displaced DieHard.
I am a Displaced DieHard.
We are Displaced DieHards.
This is a very special episode of the Displaced DieHards. Now Deshaun, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen. Jimmy Graham, Brent Selleck, Gronkowski, Ed Dixon. On Comet, on Cupid, on defense is Blitzen. Ho 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 ho. Yippee-ki-yay.
Welcome to episode number 23 of the Displaced DieHards NFL podcast. It's a very special Merry Christmas edition. We're recording from the 2420 Studios right here in Owensboro, Kentucky. And as you can see, I'll be playing the part of the Christmas creature today, Stephen A. Turner, alongside my tag team partner, Mr. Brandon Ward, playing the part of Xanta Klause.
I don't like kids. I don't give presents, I take them. And I'm an early 90s WWF jobber. No, really, I am. Google it. We had to.
That's right. Behind the big board, we've got Yukon Cornelius Hardesty and the abominable TV producer, Snowman. So before I get electrocuted by these lights and they're starting to burn my neck a little bit, we're going to kick it to Johnny Interview as he's out with the Ask segment. Ask the Coach with Bill Belichick.
This is Johnny Interview, see, reporting live at the New England Patriots press conference for Bill Belichick, see. Now here comes Bill Belichick right now. Let's get to the questions.
Bill, what's your favorite color, Bill?
What colors are we talking about here, guys? Are we talking about primary colors or secondary colors? Colors you wear in summertime? Well, we respect all the colors here in New England. Yeah, you.
Bill, this is Derek Bernhardt. Cat or dog, Bill? Cat or dog?
Cats or dogs? Well, they both give 100% effort on the field. But if you ask me personally, yeah.
Bill! Hey, Bill! Back in the back, baby! Everybody's favorite quarterback, kid is safe back here.
Go ahead, Johnny.
Hey, this is Johnny Interview here, Shane, with the Displaced DieHards. I have a question. Would you prefer a wet Christmas or no snow at all on Christmas morning? That's how it is.
We'll let that guy in Denver worry about the weather. We're just worried about Buffalo right now. We'll cross that Christmas bridge when we get to it.
Bill!
Next question.
Bill! Back here, Bill! Bill! Back here! Bill!
You.
Back here in the back! Bill! No, you're nice this year, Bill. What have you been? Spygate?
Well, that's not a very pertinent question. So if no one else has any football-related questions.
Bill, please! Bill! Oh, big Bill!
This is Johnny Interview, see, reporting live from New England Patriots press conference, see. Bill Belichick has just left the podium in a huff. Too many non-football related questions, I suppose, see. We'll see you next week on the Displaced DieHards, see.
Welcome back to Displaced DieHards. Man, Bill Belichick just snubbed the snake there.
He sure did.
No love for the snake.
I was
How do
really
you not
curious.
love the snake?
I was curious what the snake was going to ask. That's a shame. That's Bill Belichick being Bill Belichick, I suppose.
We'll always have to wonder what if, and that's the same thing the Dolphins fans are doing today as moving into the games as the Dolphins took on the Bills with a chance to almost lock up a AFC playoff berth, and they lay a goose egg, 19-0 as they lose to the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, couple of big-time Dolphins fans out there, Jordan Carlock, Jason Deal, those guys. And
Chad Maggart.
They saw it coming. They didn't even seem surprised by this Thad Lewis beatdown that they got today at the hands of the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, if it isn't bad enough that Buffalo beat you to keep you out of the playoffs, Thad Lewis did it. It wasn't even E.J. Manuel.
Yeah, Thad Lewis steps right in. He's played well at the quarterback position. The Dolphins, trying to stay in the 6th seed there in the AFC, this is a game you can't afford to lose.
Yeah, the AFC is just jumbled right now. I mean, there's 3, possibly 4 teams looking at that last wild card spot. It's almost locked in that Patriots, Bengals, Broncos, Colts are going to be your division winners, and the Chiefs are going to be in. Then you've got the Ravens and Chargers and Dolphins all at 8 and 7, and you've got Pittsburgh at 7 and 8, who still got a chance.
Still got a prayer. Pittsburgh still got a chance.
Barely could get off the schneid in the beginning of the season. Took them 5 weeks to win a game,
and
they're still in the AFC playoff picture. That's sad.
Not in a team like Arizona that could go 11-5 in the NFC and not even make it. So it's very, very sad. But Dolphins get their stuff together. They win next week versus the Jets, and they're in. So that's that's always a positive thing. Surely they can beat the Jets.
Another division rival, which they changed the Week 17 to all division games, which I love. Great move. One of the only moves that Goodell's made that I've actually liked. Moving to the winner side, the Bills. They get overlooked a lot, but their defense is legit. Like we were saying during the game, they got some of the better cornerbacks and defensive backs in the league. Jarius Byrd, the safety's back there as a playmaker. If they can re-sign him, of course, he was a franchise player this year because I was wanting my Eagles to sign him, so I know he was
solid,
a franchise tag. But if they can re-sign him and get somebody solid in the draft, they got to decide if E.J. Manuel is the guy, which I think he is. But he might have a staying healthy issue. It seems like he's been banged up 3 or 4 times already this year.
Definitely want to have some consistency out of the quarterback spot, but the Bills have got decent quarterback play out of their backup quarterback there, Thad Lewis, and it's just a matter of finding a couple playmakers. I think this team lacks Everybody thought C.J. Spiller was going to be that guy to be one of the main playmakers, but they got to find somebody electrifying in the draft, somebody that can make the plays with the ball in his hands, because this team is competitive every week. I mean, Marone's got this team fighting hard no matter what the record is every week, and the Bills aren't going to lay down for anybody, and they proved that today, especially. They're
another one of those teams like the Panthers were last year where they just got to find a way to win. And speaking of the Panthers, we'll go ahead and move it on to that game, which is a huge game in the NFC, as the Panthers took on the Saints in Carolina, and the Carolina Panthers get the huge win to take control of that division, 17-13.
Yeah, Carolina, this is a game that I loved, seeing the Saints and Sean Payton suffer over there on the sidelines.
Vikings fan, if you don't know.
I always take pleasure in
2009 Bounty Gate.
Seeing Sean Payton suffer. The Panthers, if you're a Panthers fan, you have to be absolutely ecstatic at the way this team is basically taking a stranglehold of the division. This game's for the division straight up, and the Panthers, came in, they got the job done.
I'd like to give a shout out to one Pacific Panthers fan who was in a horrible seat. The drainage system of the Carolina Stadium was literally all draining on this one dude, and he
pouring down.
He had on a poncho and was covered head to toe in a poncho and was still soaking wet. He was literally standing in a waterfall that was dropping from 80 feet down. I mean, Carolina better hook this guy up with like a free playoff ticket or something.
Absolutely.
They showed him several times during the game. He was just getting drowned.
He was just pretty much accepting the fact that he was getting drowned. He was enjoying it.
He's a Panthers fan. His Panthers was moving into the top of the division. He didn't care less about that ring at that point. Go ahead and run down the stats from this game real quick. Cam Newton, 13-22, 181 yards, a TD, and a pick. Once again, managing the game and not making the big mistakes that cost him is what he wasn't doing last year, but he's doing this year, making them win. D'Angelo Williams chipped in 67 yards. The big Panther player on the radar was Luke Kuechly, 24 tackles and an interception.
My guy, Luke Kuechly.
Stephen A. Turner's guy, Luke Kuechly, who, if you've listened to the podcast, even back in the preseason, was saying this a defensive MVP candidate, and he definitely made it known in this huge game.
That's right. That's my boy. I mean, represent. I expected the Panthers to be much improved. I didn't expect them to be this improved. I mean, division-winning Panthers is very impressive. Another guy you got to give a shout-out to is Ron Rivera. I mean, we're watching the game over here, and we're all taking a big crap on his decision to punt late in this game. 2 minutes to go, only 2 timeouts, and you're punting it back to the Saints. And we're thinking that's the death knell. Sean Payton's going to put this game away. And we look away for 1 second, and the Panthers have the ball back in Saints territory with 40 seconds to go, and they get the job done. I mean, it's just you can't really say enough about the Panthers and the Saints. They just can't play on the road. I mean, this reminds me of, like I said, the old Dome Vikings teams used to march up and down the field on people, and this team in the Dome, and then you get them on a grass field somewhere on the road, and they just can't seem to manage a victory.
It takes away their speed, which is what they're built on. Undead Al didn't build the team, but they're built on speed. I mean, Darren Sproles he's non-existent in outdoor games. He doesn't get the cuts and the advantage that he gets being as low to the ground as he is. You just can't make that work outside, especially in the cold weather.
Yeah, and Peyton, Drew Brees doesn't look the same either. There's some throws in this game. And, of course, it wasn't a driving rainstorm, but it left you scratching your head. Very un-Drew Brees-like.
Drew Brees went 30 of 44 for 281 yards, a TD, and 2 picks. So, I mean, Drew Brees with more turnovers than Cam Newton. And you got to love that as a Panthers fan.
That's the recipe for victory for Carolina. And if Carolina can hold serve next week versus the Atlanta Falcons, they're at NFC South champions. And the Saints, on the other hand, are just one slip up away from not being in the playoffs. They went from being the number 2 seed to the 6th seed with this loss. So it's a huge loss for the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, they went from looking at the number 2 seed to having a playoff game virtually next week in Week 17.
But
instead of take it easy.
It is against Tampa Bay, but still, Tampa Bay's been playing better football, so don't sleep on it.
Yeah, like I said, those teams have had nothing to play for the last 8 weeks. Once they finally get a chance to affect the playoff race, you're gonna get a team's best effort, unless the team just totally quit. But I don't, like you said, the Bucs have been playing well. I don't think they're a team that's quit on their coach.
Speaking of totally quit, the Minnesota Vikings
see some purple coming.
Totally quit today. I mean, I've been proud of the way they've performed over the last 3 or 4 weeks. I mean, even we've had a couple tough losses in there, but we played some teams right down to the wire, and that was simply not the case today. As the Cincinnati Bengals pretty much raped us today.
Yeah, we didn't get much into this game before. I mean, even at the beginning of the game, it seemed like none of the players, the commentators went in. There was a fumble that nobody talked about on the broadcast. They didn't mention if there was a replay option. It just looked like everybody was about 30 minutes behind in this game, like they weren't prepared to play. I think maybe they had some Christmas parties going on in Minnesota and Cincinnati last night.
I think maybe the players got together and heard all this Leslie Frazier may keep his job talk, and then they said, you know what, we need to change, so we're just not going to show up today. No, I really don't know. Like I say, I'm always trying to be pretty positive and pull positive things from the team to look at, and I don't have a thing positive today. They just got flat out embarrassed and just whipped.
Yeah, Matt Castle, we went in looking like he might go into the next season as y'all's starting quarterback, and he comes out with a horrible performance today. He looked like Matt Castle in his days with the Chiefs more than he did Matt Castle with the Patriots.
It's odd because he was throwing the ball down the field so effectively in the other games. In this game, he was short-arming it, and the Bengals, make no mistake about it, Bengals defense is legit. I mean, he's the best D by far that he's played against all season. I think that might have had something to do with it. Even a good Vikings team would have struggled to score points against this Bengals defense today. They were on their game. And then on the outside, we had no answer for their wide receivers. A.J. Green and Mohamed Sanu and those guys just dominated this game with Prather. And Chris Cook is just awful.
The Bengals are also coming off that loss last week where they had just shit the bed on national TV, so they were wanting to come out and make a statement, and they did. I mean, they come out and jumped on them early.
And make no mistake, the Bengals are one of the better home teams in the league. I saw a stat where they hung 40 on the board in the last 4 home games. So it's not just us they smash at home. They put a lot of points on the board versus everybody. And with our corners banged up and the guys we're putting out there, it doesn't surprise me that they hung 40 on them today. That's about all I got from this.
Yeah, the defensive coordinator for the Vikings basically went with he knows they can't stop the passing game, so he puts his worst defensive back on the best player on the opposing team and goes with that method.
Got a backup safety playing on A.J. Green. It's not a recipe for success.
That's probably why he had 2 touchdowns, Leslie.
Yeah, not a good recipe. We're going to be looking for a new coach, so I'll go ahead and give you my rundown of the top 3 coaches that I'd like. So there you go.
News.
How about Tom Coughlin, number 1 on the board from New York Giants? I don't know if he's going to lose his job or not, but if he does,
he should.
Ziggy give him a call. He's actually number 2. I'll take that back. I'll take Shaw from Stanford. I like that guy a lot. I think we had Willie Shaw on the staff a few years ago under Denny Green. So bring him in from Stanford. And Bill O'Brien, another guy, a college guy from Penn State. He's lowering his NFL buyout. I look for him to join an NFL team. Any 3 of those guys would be great. So that probably means we're going to hire somebody from, like, say, Seattle's offensive coordinator.
Phillips, here he comes.
Darrell Bevel is probably on his way to Minnesota.
Stephen A. Turner threatened to hang himself in a closet if that happens.
If that happens, I'll be gone. You won't ever find me. I'll be hung somewhere from a light pole or something. Because Darrell Bevel, I've had enough of that guy in Minnesota. Ugh.
Our Viking warrior, Odinson, is looking for someone, but it's not the next head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. It's actually Santa Claus as he travels to the North Pole to talk to Santa Claus. Let's see if he wants to know why Santa didn't give him his wish of bringing him a Vikings win.
I ask that every year, Odinson.
He got a big lump of coal in his stocking whenever he woke up to watch the Cincinnati Bengals game. He's pissed off about it.
And a big load of shit.
He took the Rainbow Bridge to the North Pole. Let's see what happened.
is I, Sir Odinson. Once again thou had pierced the mortal plane to view thou Vikings of Minnesota. But upon the ending of the first quarter, I realized that this mockery of a game was one thou would not care to witness. So thou took forth to the skies to find the realm of North Pole, to ask Sir Xanta of Klause why thou did not get his Christmas wish of a Vikings victory. But upon arrival in the north, I found it under siege by frost giants from Jotunheim. So thou picked up battle with the elves of the North Pole and St. Claus himself and drove the frost giants back to the realms of Jotunheim. Once battles were won and mead was drank, I asked Sir Claus of St. Nicholas why the Odinson did not receive his gift. And he said, because Vikings were upon the naughty list. Thou pillage and plunder, rape and steal. Vikings do not receive Christmas presents, they receive coal. If thou wilt not receive Christmas in the lands of Asgard, then thou wilt be smited. All of the North Pole will be laid to waste by the warriors of the realm. Sir Himdall, beam the warriors of the North here from Asgard and let us slay Sir Xanta of Klause. There will be no Christmas for any mortal this year. Ha ha!
Welcome back to Displaced DieHards Christmas Special, if there still is a Christmas, because Odinson might have just canceled it.
I think he just blew up the North Pole. Sorry, boys and girls. No presents for you.
Now you can take that silly-ass hat off.
No way.
Well, moving on now to the Cowboys and Redskins. As the Cowboys, unfortunately, gets the 24-23 win, as it looked like the Cowboys were going to self-implode in the second half, like Chris Riley, our Cowboys diehard fan, expected, but nope. Romo gets the win. Let's go ahead and run down some game stats. Romo, 17 of 27, 226 yards, 2 touchdowns. DeMarco Murray actually got to touch the ball this game 22 times, and what do you know? They won the game.
Novel concept.
22 carries, 96 yards, a touchdown. He also caught a touchdown receiving. Des Bryant managed to stop crying and actually stayed the whole game. Caught 4 passes, 73 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
We sent him a truckload of Kleenexes this week to try to help him clean up the tears.
Yeah, for the Washington side, who really cares about them? They couldn't get it done. They couldn't help my Eagles out, so they're dead to me now.
They didn't finish.
Basically, to sum up their season, all you need to know is their quarterback hates the coach hates the quarterback, the dad's quarterback hates the coach. The dad's quarterback probably needs to shut up. The owner and the coach both need to shut up while they're trying to sabotage each other, and they let the Cowboys win.
That pretty much sums up the Redskins. Moving on to the Cowboys, I thought Romo looked awful today for the most part. He didn't... Normally I defend Romo and say it's not all his fault. Today the game was solely on him. I thought he was throwing some odd balls that just didn't look right. And they were fortunate to escape this game with the win because they almost let it get away fourth and go from like the 11 or 12 yard line, and they squeaked the touchdown in right there under the wire, or they would be done for tonight.
Yeah, Dallas squeaks out the win against a team who's trying to self-implode. Everybody on the team hates each other. One other thing that sums up the Redskins season is the Rams may have the number 1 pick thanks to the Redskins. So
wow.
the Redskins sucking this bad isn't even going to pay off because the Rams got your pick.
At least the number 2 pick, it looks like. So, I mean, you're giving up a top 2 pick to the Rams, who look like they're going to be on their way to completely rebuilding that franchise thanks to the Redskins. But the Cowboys, I don't care. If you're a Cowboys fan and you're out there, you better hope the Cowboys lose next week to the Eagles, because if they don't, you're going to be blessed with some more years of Jason Garrett, and you're not going to go anywhere in the playoffs. So if I'm a Cowboys fan, it's a lose-lose, because either way, something bad is going to happen. Either we're not going to make the playoffs, or we're going to have to be stuck with Jason Garrett, and that guy can't coach. He's a flat-out bum. He's an idiot. He's cost the Cowboys multiple games.
Yeah, if that happens, Chris Riley, the Dallas diehard, is going to be taking a trip to the North Pole asking why he received another year of Jason Garrett in his stocking.
Me and him will be right there in the closet together, helping each other wrap the wire around our neck, because Darrell Bevel in Minnesota and Jason Garrett in Dallas. So it'll be a Merry Christmas to us.
That almost gives me another way to look at this game, like with the Eagles and Cowboys. It's like, man,
win-win.
Yeah, if we lose next week, actually, we kind of win because we get Jason Garrett in our division coaching the next 4 years.
Guy's a moron.
A moron also is Jerry Jones, who did you see the tape they were playing from last week's game when he walks up walks up to Des Bryant and says, you're one of the 2 or 3 guys on this team who can actually make a difference and win this game for me.
Yeah, because 2 or 3 guys always win games in the NFL.
Yeah, it's not a team game at all. And I mean, and pretty much proved it today. I mean, Des Bryant didn't have a huge day at a touchdown, but I mean, they weren't carried by Des Bryant. They were carried by DeMarco Murray, and they got the win.
I don't want to, get ate by a zombie or anything, but Jerry Jones is starting to approach Undead Al territory when he was alive and he ran the Raiders into the ground. Because Jerry Jones, I mean, if that's how he really thinks, then the Cowboys have more problems than just a horrible head coach. I mean,
Undead Al's been dead for 2 years and he's still smarter than a live Jerry Jones.
I'll take that to the bank.
And it's not like Al was the brightest crown in the box whenever he was alive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just speaking, totally unbiasedly here. I don't hate the Cowboys. I definitely don't. I mean, actually, I'm not a huge.
This is the guy that picked the Cowboys to win the East. So I mean, if they come through for him next week, his prediction's right.
No, I don't want that to happen.
Listen to the confidence in that voice.
No, not who I thought they were. I totally bought into the Monty Kiffin defense, and it hasn't worked at all. And nothing.
They weren't who we thought they were.
No, they're not who I thought they were, and that just is what it is. It's Dallas being Dallas. As usual, 500 ball club who shouldn't make the playoffs.
We'll keep it moving now to the Broncos being the Broncos as they get the 37-13 win.
Yeah, the Broncos, I thought they were in trouble in the first half. Riley kind of mocked me in the sense of saying that, are they in trouble now when he looked at the final score. I'm still not buying into the Broncos in the playoffs just yet. I mean, I picked them to play in the Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks, and sure, I'd like to see that. It's probably going to be the best game you're going to get in the Super Bowl, but I mean, until the Broncos can beat somebody, in the cold weather, and like I said, even if they're going to be number one seed, even still, they're going to be playing at home in Denver. It's still going to be cold, windy, snowy.
Yeah, it snows there a lot.
Yucky conditions.
Denver fans are like, we're playing at home. Yeah, it snows there.
It's still freezing cold. I mean, I'm just curious how this team's going to respond in the playoffs. So, I mean, this team doesn't have the defense that it's had in the couple years past. Von Miller injured today, and we'll see what happens. I mean, the Texans are a complete mess, so I can't really take anything to hang your hat on.
Von Miller will probably just go on the Aaron Hernandez diet, do some PCP, and not even know he has a leg that's injured and play.
He's taking some kind of drugs. We don't even know what he's taking. He's failing drug tests left and right. But
bath salts.
But, I mean, the Broncos, one thing positive you take from this game is Peyton Manning broke the touchdown record, 51, quietly, by the way.
If you were Drew Brees, you would be holding a parade down Bourbon Street right now.
They had to stop the game and had a huge celebration when Drew Brees broke a record they made up on their own.
So you could get Sean Payton to come in to be able to watch the game when he's suspended.
And Peyton Manning takes down one of the all-time, most coveted records, most touchdown passes in a season. And you barely even hear about it. That's one thing I take away from it. I didn't hardly even knew he even did it.
And one positive thing for the Texans,
they're gonna be the number one pick in the draft, probably.
Yeah, there wasn't one.
That's it. I mean,
the season's almost over. That's
hopefully
as positive as it's gonna get for Texans.
Hopefully, Charlie Casserly's not gonna be making your first pick like he did when he took, Mario Williams as your number one overall pick. But other than that, sure, why not?
We're moving on now from the Broncos' decimation of the Texans and go to the Colts versus the Chiefs as Kool-Aid Man, fat-ass Andy Reid takes on a winning team. And what do you know? He gets stomped out 23-7.
Yeah, that's it. The Chiefs are like the Oregon of the NFL. It's
kind of the theme of the Chiefs' year.
Yeah, as soon as they play somebody good, and they lose. Not a whole lot to take from this game, except for the fact these two teams are 9 times out of 10 they're going to play again in the playoffs. It's just instead of being an Arrowhead, it's going to be up in Jim Irsay's home, the house that Peyton built up in Indianapolis.
Go ahead and run down the stats. Alex Smith, 16 of 29, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a fumble, 3 turnovers whenever everybody was saying how great of a winning quarterback he was. He's a winning quarterback when he's up 2 touchdowns for the entire game and he can just milk the clock. When he's got to try to win games, he's not going to do it. Jamal Charles still making a run at MVP as he put up 106 rushing yards, a touchdown, chipped in another 38 receiving yards. On the winning side of the ball, Andrew Luck, 26 of 37, 241 yards and a touchdown. And Donald Brown, the Colts zombie, he just refuses to
go away.
The Colts have been trying to push this guy out of the backfield since like 2006, and he just keeps on putting up numbers this year. 79 rushing yards and a touchdown, 31 receiving yards and a touchdown. How you doing, beast mode?
Yeah, we're not. At this point, Trent Richardson's pretty much irrelevant.
I don't have Trent Richardson's numbers on the game, but I bet he probably averaged right around 2 yards a carry and didn't do much other than that.
No.
Except cost the Colts a first-round draft pick.
The Colts, basically, defense showed up today, forced 4 turnovers. That's a big thing to take from it. And Andrew Luck is a guy that's, he can't put, I don't think he's ready to put the entire team on his shoulders, obviously, the way they played, a couple weeks out of the season. But today he did a fairly good job of managing the game and doing what he had to do. This is a solid win versus a good opponent on the road. So as a coach, you have to look at that as a positive. The way they've been playing of late, you want to head in the playoffs on a positive note, and I believe this is a pretty positive win.
This is how the Colts want to play football. They want to dominate the game with their run and use the running back more than they do the quarterback. They want to make Andrew Luck more of a game manager than he was last year. They didn't like him throwing 45 times a game, and then, especially now that Reggie Wayne's out, it makes even more sense. So
yeah.
Beast mode, if he wasn't such a bust, if he wasn't bust mode, he could be paying huge dividends. But thankfully for Colts fans, they got Donald Brown there to pick up the slack.
They need to go get Toby Gerhardt for that Stanford offense and let him run next year.
I'm gonna go ahead and move it on to a game that almost killed us trying to watch. We were waiting for the results so we could do the radio show on 102.7 The Game, as you can listen to that every Monday at 6:30 p.m. But we'll move it now to the New York Giants taking on the Detroit Lions. As the Giants get the win, apparently nobody wants to win the NFC North.
No, the Detroit Lions. I mean, how many times do we have to talk about it? The Lions are a sham. I mean, they're a shame. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting.
And they're a sham.
They're a shame, blah, blah, blah.
Shit.
Schwartz, unemployed.
What do you know? They all start with SH.
I mean, it's just, this game, we had to watch this game. I mean, that's, I'll tell everybody, I do the radio show for fun. I do the podcast for fun. I love doing it. I absolutely have a blast doing it. But today, for those like 2.5 hours that I sat there and watched this, I needed to get paid. Somebody needed to pay me to watch this crap. It was awful. They'd run 2 plays and have a penalty, or 2 plays and the rest would huddle up for 30 minutes. I felt like this game lasted for 6 hours.
And do you remember last week, if you recall, last week we said this game was so horrible that it would end in overtime on a fumble recovered to where the team wins on a fumble in overtime to win the game.
And it darn near happened.
And it almost happened.
If it wasn't for a referee turning it over, or turning the call, whatever, it was just, I don't know. If it wasn't for the Lions recovering that fumble, they probably would have ended that way. But the Lions, it's a shame. The Lions had this division dead to rights, and now they're out. They're done. I mean, I've been telling you for a month, the Detroit Lions, don't depend on them. They're not disciplined.
See you next year, Jim.
Yeah,
actually, we won't.
Actually, we might.
Fired.
I mean, defensive coordinators, openings, get ready, because that's where you're heading, Jim. It's a shame. It is. This team's way too talented to be losing these types of games. The New York Giants, oh, God. I mean, they won this game, but, I mean, that's about all I got to say.
Yeah, the New York Giants have been gift-wrapping games for people all year, and the Lions had the opportunity to come take the gift of the NFC Central division, and they got shunned. They got the lump of coal as well.
Yeah, Eli Manning just looks terrible. I mean, we watched a lot of this game, and he looks awful. Like, the Giants fans are going to have to hope that guy comes around, because he's almost got a bye. He's almost got like 2 or 3 years worth of sucking before they try to get rid of him, because he's got 2 Super Bowl rings on his finger. So if he doesn't step his game up, it's going to be a long while before they try to get rid of Eli Manning. Because like I say, I think he's going to get a free pass for a little while just because he's won a couple Super Bowls.
And I don't necessarily see him getting any better. I mean, he's up there in the 30s. It's not like you expect him to find some kind of new facet of his game and become Aaron Rodgers all of a sudden.
I can't wrap my finger on it. I mean, I've always thought he was a little overrated, during the regular season. He's obviously a great playoff quarterback. I mean, you can't knock the fact that the guy's won 2 Super Bowls. I mean, he's had great defenses, but he made some key plays on some of those Super Bowl wins, and this guy looks like a different quarterback. I mean, altogether, I just don't know how much longer they can tolerate that.
Yeah, Eli's been handing out interceptions all year, so we decided since it's Christmas time, he likes handing out gifts to everybody. We're going to see how Santa Slingbade and what he gives everybody for the Christmas time season.
Should have handed me a shank so I could have shanked myself while I was watching this one.
My name is Eli Manning. Some call me Slingbade Manning. I call myself Eli Manning. I've been handing out Christmas gifts all year long in the forms of interception. Today, I only threw 1 interception to the Detroit Lions, and we managed to, we were able to win the game today, and it was good. It was good since I didn't have a shed, since it got blown up last week. Papa Manning let me come in and sit at the table. Well, not really at the table, but on the floor by the table, by the dogs. But I was still in the same room with Peyton and Papa Manning and Mama, especially Mama. I love Mama. She's the one that brings me them French fried mashed potatoes, and them are my favorites, and big mashed potatoes. Mm-hmm. My mama told me it was good to give gifts in the holiday season, and I can't always give things I want to give, because I usually give interceptions to the other team and buying French fried taters. But if I could give something to my teammates, I'd like to give Victor Cruz touchdown so he could salsa. He liked to dance. That's Victor Cruz. He does. He liked to dance, and I'd like to give him a touchdown. And if I could hand out Christmas presents to all the people that are close to me, I would have to give Coach Tom, my good friend Coach Tom, a contract extension. And I've been drinking a little eggnog and trying to get all the little scraps from the table that I could. And I was heading out on a little buzz. I'd like to give Kevin Gilbert a dildo for Christmas so he can go fuck himself. He always trying to fuck me, so I'd like for him to go fuck himself is what I'd like. Well, I guess I'm getting close to time to close up here, but I would like to see if I could ask dear Santa Claus for just one gift for Christmas, because I do believe in Santa, and, you know, I never got much from him. But I would just want to ask for a new shed outside Papa Manning's house, because Bane blew mine up, and since then, you know, I've kind of just been sleeping in a hole outside the house where the shed used to be, and been living in a hole outside. I dug and put some blankets and some quilts in that Mama Manning gave me, and I love my mama. But I still don't have no shed and no shelter to protect me from, you know, the snow here in New York, and Papa Manning ain't gonna build me another shed. So Santa Claus, if you could, I just need me a new shed for Christmas. And some French fried taters.
That was Slingbade Manning as he handed out gifts to some of his friends and teammates. Hopefully somebody gets that Mongoloid a new shed that Bane blew up.
It's never a dull moment when you got Slingbade on the program.
We're moving on now to the Cardinals versus the Seahawks. As the Cardinals come into Seattle, apparently the Seattle Seahawks were out of Adderall for this game, and Seattle loses the first game in Seattle, 17-10 to the Cardinals.
To your Arizona Cardinals.
My Arizona Cardinals, even though I don't really care now that Honey Badger is out. But I'll go ahead and run down their stats. Listen to these stats. This team won. Carson Palmer, 13 of 25, 178 yards, a touchdown, 4 interceptions.
Wow.
Larry Fitzgerald went for exactly 18 yards more than I did in this game. Michael Floyd, 31 yards and a touchdown, leading the receivers. And Mendenhall with 63 yards and that all-important two-point conversion. It was even worse on the other side. Russell Wilson, 108 yards, a TD and a pick. And Marshawn Lynch, 71 yards. Somebody stole his Skittles along with his Adderall.
Yeah, that's the kind of game you get in this NFC West, punch them in the mouth, buckle your chin strap type of game. I'm telling you right now, the Cardinals go 11-5 and miss the playoffs. That's going to be a crime. I mean,
especially when you look at the teams in the AFC that are going to possibly make the playoffs.
You know what the highlight from this game? The highlight from this game. Let's just get right to the highlight. And the highlight was Bruce Arians wearing his Arizona Cardinals onesie on the sidelines with a fanny pack. That's styling for Coach of the Year.
That's when you know you're coaching your ass off, ladies and gentlemen. When you're walking around in a onesie and a fanny pack on the sideline.
I want to know where to get one of them onesies. That thing looked comfortable as hell.
That is officially declaring you don't give a fuck anymore.
That's exactly what it is. I'm the best coach in football, and I'm wearing a onesie.
Deal with it.
What are you going to do with it? I mean, that's just basically what it boils down to.
Belichick gets away with this hoodie thing. I'm going to rock a onesie and a fanny pack.
I'm talking about a onesie, folks. Like, this thing is like
a child wears.
It's like about 2-year-old. We used to wear them back when they used to, you know, now they're outgrown them. But, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. A flannel. Like
His kids are like 7 and they've outgrown them. Arians is a 50-year-old man. He's a grown man. He's wearing a onesie.
It was awesome. If you get a chance, Google Bruce Arians onesie at the fanny pack. I mean, that's it, styling, baby.
It was better than anything in this game. As we said, it was atrocious offense. It was a defensive battle.
What we should have done today, I'm just going off the path right now. What we should have done today is we should have just put the microphone in there and recorded the podcast live when we're watching the games and just get us watching the games from start to finish, because we had a lot of entertaining crap. Way more entertaining than this football we watched.
You have to
today.
Entertain yourself whenever the games are as boring as they were today.
But I mean, you got to tip your cap to the Cardinals on a serious note. Tip your cap to the Cardinals on ending the Seattle Seahawks home winning streak. It's very tough to win there, and the Cardinals go in, take care of business. And like I say, it is going to be a tragedy that they're going to go 11-5. First team to ever go 11-5 and not make the playoffs. Of course, they'll have to beat the 49ers to accomplish that, but still, I mean, 10-6 is still bad enough.
Yeah, and apparently the 49ers hold the
tiebreaker.
The tiebreaker. So even if they end up beating them head-to-head next week and end up with the same record. The 49ers still got to get in. So the Cardinals got to hope the Saints fall off again. That's about their only ticket. That's going to be the only ticket into the playoffs for an 11-win team. That's ridiculous.
That would be rough, yeah.
If the NFL ever wants to make their case for adding 2 extra teams in the playoffs,
that's what I'm
that's
fearing.
the prime team to use them.
I don't know that I'm for the 2 extra teams in the playoffs. I'm kind of on the fence on that. I don't really think that I am. So, but this is going to, like you said, it's going to be a great argument to put 2 more teams in, unfortunately.
Go ahead and moving on to the AFC, 2 more playoff caliber teams as the Patriots took on the Ravens. Patriots stomped them out 41-7 as this game was barely able to watch. It
couldn't be watched. We tried. It didn't work.
By the time we'd flipped over on the game mix, it was like 17-0. It was like, well, we're done with that game. We looked forward to it from 3 to 3:25, and by 3:45 we were done with it.
There's 5 games on the game mix, and this game's like 33-0, and Raj is like, "What are you doing, Steve? You flip the game one." I can't watch the Patriots Ravens game.
It's giving me a headache.
Giving me a headache, as if the Lions game wasn't giving me a headache enough. Jesus, today is just brutal.
One person the stomping didn't give a headache to was our Patriots superfan Gimp, Chris Couples. We're going to welcome him in now and get his thoughts on the New England Patriots as they won, so he showed up. He's not sick today.
That's right. He's
I'll be damned.
It's like a NyQuil in a bottle. The Patriots wins there.
How you doing, guys? Thanks for having me back. Yeah, I missed last week. I was a little sick. I call it a sickness. Some people just call it a loss. Here in New England, I'm not exactly familiar with that.
So Slingbade reference there.
It threw me off.
That's nice.
It threw me off a little bit. But yeah, we got the win. Like you said, I was really looking forward to watching this game. And it's a playoff preview. Usually most years it is. So it was a lot of tension between these 2 teams, a lot of history between these 2 teams. So I was going into it really expecting a close game, like 24-27. Usually that's how they end up. But like you said, it was nothing on that level.
Not at all.
Ended up with the 41-7 score. Tom Brady went for 172 yards and a touchdown. Not a great performance, but they really, what I noticed from watching the game, really the controlling the lines was obviously the theme going into it. LeGarrette Blount had 76 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's nice to see out of him. I come on the show all the time and I say that he's garbage and this, that, and the other, but he doesn't give the ball up. He doesn't put up ridiculous stats either. So if it's an option between fumbling twice or 2 touchdowns, punching in on the goal line, I'll take that any day.
He's Ben Jarvis Green Ellis part 2.
Yeah, definitely. It really does look the same. Like you said, keeps possession, gets a little yardage. Take the pressure off Brady a little bit, and it's. Having a balanced attack is where it's at, and that's what we want at this football team.
Only difference is you can't call him the law firm. He more or less gets sued for punching people.
Yeah, he doesn't have an
He has to hire a law firm.
He just threatens you. But going to the defensive side of the ball, really they showed up big time with all the injuries. I mean, just the plethora of injuries going on with this team right now. They showed up, and I think that's more of a sign of the coaching. This team is coached well. They've been coached up well. He had 3 4th-down stops, 4 turnovers on the defense. Ended up getting 2 of their late at the end of the game. Chandler Jones fell on a fumble in the end zone, and then Tavon Austin got a pick 6 there in garbage time, just to put it away. But my big thing that I came up with, Logan Ryan had 2 interceptions. One of those interceptions, Dante Hightower tipped the ball. And last week we saw him get burned for the go-ahead touchdown against Miami, and I was saying Alabama players, I don't want them on my team. I'm talking, I'm down on them.
No tide,
exactly. But you know what this guy does? He gets coached up. He goes in practice. He works hard. He's a film guy. He's like reminds me of Gerard Mayo. He's sitting in there and he's constantly trying to improve his game. He's only second-year man.
Yeah.
But what's he do? He goes back out there, gets put back into coverage, which he's not good at. He's more of a run-stopping linebacker. Gets put into coverage, and what's he do? Gets good depth, makes a heads-up play, tips the ball. Logan Ryan comes up with the first interception. And that was actually the first defensive turnover we forced after having 30-something in a row, or 30-something games with the turnover. That was the first one we had since Houston, the second quarter of Houston, which was also an interception by Logan Ryan. I'm liking this kid. The team was plagued with injuries today. It was injuries and flags. That's all I really saw all day long.
We didn't see a lot. We were watching on a little 2x2 screen because I refused to put it on the big screen because the Ravens were they're hard to watch.
The thing I picked up on with the Ravens is how horrible their run game is. I mean, the Patriots have been getting slashed since they lost Will Fork, and the Ravens couldn't get anything going with their run game.
Constant theme, if you notice on the show most of the time. When the Ravens win, they usually rush it fairly well. and when they lose, it's non-existent.
Well, you said it last week, Ward. You said that, I think in the fantasy starting sets, you said that you would play Ray Rice because of the injuries on our defense, and I agreed with you. I was shaking my head, agreed with the wholeheartedly, and what did he come up with, 40 yards? I mean, this guy's become a non-factor. I don't know if he's hit a wall in his career with the age. They always say running backs have a short shelf life, so I don't know if that's it or if they're just not using
I think it's the offensive line there because they got a 23-year-old Bernard Pierce who looked like a stud last year, and he puts up the same average as Ray Rice.
Well, I think them losing a couple playmakers on the offensive side of they know who Flacco's going to go to with Torrey Smith.
Key. That's the key right there.
Jacoby Jones isn't very reliable.
They have no threats down the field, so teams could just straight up concentrate on the run game because they don't have. There's no one there to stretch the field.
They can Minnesota Viking them.
Exactly. That's exactly what they could do. And Joe Flacco, he hasn't played well. He hasn't played great this season, and he had a bum leg out there today, and he looked like he could barely walk.
Like a newborn baby deer out there.
He probably shouldn't have been on the field at all. The guy was falling down under his own feet. It was just, like you said, newborn baby deer. That pretty much sums it up. That's pretty much what he looked like.
Anytime there was weight on that knee, he was down.
Down, yeah.
It's not like he's the fleetest of foot quarterback, but everybody's like, well, he's not Michael Vick. He doesn't need his legs. You need your legs as a quarterback.
Was it Phil Simms talking?
Yeah.
It was Phil Simms. That guy's a moron.
There was a lot of bad officiating, like the guy that called out the defensive back for not covering well when he was on the player's numbers.
Yeah,
the entire play.
It wasn't just the play on the field. It was the officiating. It was the commentating. Today was just like a train wreck across the NFL. But it's fun to make fun of.
Speaking of train wrecks, there's a train wreck going on right now, locked up in Connecticut Correctional, and he called in on the payphone to give us his take on the game. So let's go ahead right now, kick it to Aaron Hernandez.
Yee.
Yo, what's cracking? It's the tight end that might make your life in, Aaron Hernandez, calling in on the Displaced DieHards, straight from Connecticut Correctional Facilities on the prison payphone. Now I know it's Christmas time and all, and aside from my endless supply of PCP and Bubblicious that I always ask for, I already got my Christmas present. It came a little early. That's how good I've been this year. I got an early Christmas present. And it came when that little Peckerwood Wes Welker got knocked out, son. Wes Welker had less of an idea where he was than myself after an all-night bath salt binge. Wes Welker was so brain dead, he showed up at Gillette Stadium thinking he still played for the Patriots. We don't want you around here, son. Turncoat. Merry concussion and a very happy head trauma, Wes Welker. Now that's going to about wrap it up. We're about to top the tree with a razor blade shank Christmas star and then sip on some eggnog around these parts. Not really. It's jailbrew Pruno, but you got to get what you got to get in the correctional facilities. Nonetheless, back to you, Stephen Ward. Yo. Or should I say, ho, 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 ho. Aye, aye.
That was Aaron Hernandez live from the Connecticut Correctional payphone. He's going to catch a terroristic threatening charge against Wes Welker.
I guess he
watch
can't.
himself.
Yeah, what more could possibly damage could it do? On top of the charges he already has.
Can't get blood out of a turnip at this point.
No.
Moving on now to the Steelers and the Packers. As the Steelers get the win 38-31 and a chance that the Packers had to really establish themselves in the NFC playoff race with everybody else losing in the division. Nobody wants to win this division is what I've taken from the day in football.
Yeah, the Steelers, they came in. This is a pretty entertaining game in what was a pretty lackluster day of football. It was back and forth at least. You had lightning arm Matt Flynn out there leading the Packers up and down the field against the Steelers D. But in the end of the day, the Steelers get the win with a few odd, controversial calls from the referees in this game. Packers have won 2 games without Aaron Rodgers, 2-6-1.
2.5.
Yeah, 2.5. You count the comeback tie with the Minnesota Vikings,
which actually could end up getting them in the playoffs.
It could help them as opposed to hurting them. But at the same time, 2-6-1 without Aaron Rodgers, and you're playing for the division. That tells you how bad the Chicago Bears and Detroit Lions. Minnesota Vikings have been bad all year, but how bad they've been in the past 6-7 weeks.
That sums up the NFC North this year.
That's bad. It's just. The Bears and Packers next week for the division at Soldier Field. Get your popcorn ready, so I'm sure Aaron Rodgers won't be ready to play next week either. So, unless the Bears decide to start Luke or McCown in that game, I don't know. I think the Packers have a fighter's chance to win it.
And just when you thought the day couldn't get any worse for any other teams from that division, like, wow, this really opened it up for the Bears. We'll go ahead and move it on now. The Bears got 54 points hung on them in a meaningless game for the Eagles on Sunday Night Football. And to break that down, we're going to kick it to the Snake right now. It's Sunday Night with the Snake.
Yes, baby.
The Snake's been waiting all day for a Sunday night. The Eagles and the Bears wasn't much of a fight. Jay Cutler still sucked, yeah, the Snake knows that's right. That's right, baby. It's Kenny the Snake Stabler. Sunday Night Football with the Snake. And 2 weeks in a row, we got a blowout on our hands, baby. This Philadelphia Eagles done run roughshod over the Chicago Bears. 54-11. You kidding me, Mark Trestman? 54-11? You got teams taking care of business for you, like the Giants during the day, eliminating the Lions. And then you got the Packers losing to the Steelers. And what do? You go out on Sunday Night Football, you say, hey, guys, guess what, baby? We win tonight. We're NFC North Division champs. All we got to do is go out and beat a team that ain't got nothing to play for. Come on, Mark Trestman. Grow some, baby. 54-11 is unacceptable, especially to a team that ain't got nothing to play for. You got Nick Foles out there throwing the ball around the lot like it ain't nothing. 21-0 before the end of the first quarter. This game's over. Everybody's been telling me, they've been saying, hey, Snake, you know, they've been missing Lance Briggs over there in Chicago. The defense just ain't right without old Lance Briggs. Well, let me tell you something, baby. Lance Briggs suited up. He put his shoulder pads on. He put his helmet on. He went out there on the field, and the Bears still got the butt kicked. So I don't want to hear about Lance Briggs being the problem with the defense. Trust me, you got to get it going, baby. Nobody wants to win a division. You can't let Matt Flynn, a guy the Snake can go out in a quarterback competition today and whip up and down the lot. You can't let a guy like that lead the Green Bay Packers to a division with Aaron Rodgers over there holding the clipboard, baby. The only way that the Packers should be contended is with Aaron Rodgers under center. Now what you got is the Lions are eliminated, so Chicago, it's up to you next week, baby. You got to wake up, or the Green Bay Packers are going to be right back where they belong at the top of the NFC North. Now flipping the script over to the Philadelphia Eagles, they took care of business tonight, but what the real concern is going to be next week when the Evil Empire and Jerry Jones rolls into town. Then what are you going to do? You got to represent Philly. You got to show them what's up. Tony Romo's good for 3 or 4 interceptions, and Nick Napoleon Dynamite Foles, baby. That's right. That's a shout out to my boy Brandon Ward back on the DieHards, baby. He's going to represent next week, and the Philadelphia Eagles are going to roll. They're going to be the NFC East champions. And look out, NFC. Look out. I've been hearing it. Who's going to go in to Seattle in the playoffs, baby, and get the job done? I'm telling you, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're sneaky good. Chip Kelly's got them playing real well. Erase what you knew about them last week. They're taking care of business this week. That's all the time I got for right now. But this is Kenny the Snake Stabler. Be sure and join us on the DieHard next week. Because if you don't, you're a loser. Be a winner like Kenny the Snake.
That was Kenny the Snake Stabler, and this is Week 17 game predictions. Steve, what you got?
Well, I'm a little bit sentimental. I'm getting a little emotional because this is the very last week of full week game rundowns. A lot of these teams are going to be saying goodbye to after next week. So
it's just that Viking roller coaster season that's making emotional.
It's the last one. I'm getting a little Des Bryant up over here. But moving on, let's kick it off.
Just don't run off. Finish the show at least.
That's right. I won't leave early. I promise. Let's go down to the big coffin. Where I'm sure that the count is happy that it's the last game, so maybe you can get ready for the offseason and kick it into next year. The Atlanta Falcons play host to the NFC South champion, Carolina Panthers, and they're going to be the champions after they roll the Atlanta Falcons next week.
I think the count's probably dust at this point from walking out in the sun about week 6 or so. So give me Carolina. At least the count won't have to witness it.
Paul Brown Stadium, Cincinnati Bengals play host to the Baltimore Ravens in a game that normally gives them trouble. But they're at home. Andy Dalton's solid at home. The Bengals are solid at home. And Baltimore is playing with a gimped-up Joe Flacco who's not going to make the playoffs. Give me Cincinnati.
Gimped-up Joe Flacco, washed-up Ray Rice. Give me Cincinnati.
How about the Metrodome? Yeah, they're going to blow it up. They're going to call in Bain. They're going to blow it up next week. You talk about closing down Candlestick. Let's talk about closing down this monument of a stadium that is the Metrodome. The very last game, the Minnesota Vikings host the Detroit Lions. And I'm taking the Vikings to close out the Metrodome in style with a win.
I'm predicting a tie because it seems like neither team wants to win a game very bad to me.
The tie might be right on the money. Let's go down to Tennessee, home of the Tennessee Titans. Ill Bill's Tennessee Titans. They're playing host to a team that can't win a game. The Houston Texans, they don't want to win a game. They're looking for the number 1 overall pick. Give me the Tennessee
Johnny
Titans.
Manziel.
Give me the Tennessee Titans. Johnny Manziel, the next Joe Montana.
Yeah, give me Tennessee Titans just strictly because they're at home. These are two teams that are ready for the season to be over. Tennessee's at home. They got less travel. Give me the win.
Indianapolis Colts. Jim Irsay's Indianapolis Colts. Beast Mode's Indianapolis Colts. In the house that Peyton built. Hosting America's team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, as they roll into town. This one's pretty cut and dry. I'll take it.
Yeah, it might be the house that Peyton built, but it's the team that Donald Brown's carrying, not Beast Mode.
Right.
So give me Indy.
Donald Brown, Indianapolis Colts. Let's go on to Miami. They've got another chance to get the job done. The Miami Dolphins play host to the New York Jets, the number 1 rival. Surely to God they can come out and play for the number 6 seed. I'm going to roll with Ryan Tannehill and the Miami Dolphins. Don't let me down.
I'm going with the Jets playing for Rex Ryan's job. And from what I've seen from Miami today, they don't want to go to the playoffs.
All right, let's go up to New York Giants and Washington
Bill.
Redskins. New York Giants and Washington Redskins. I mean, this pretty much just killed all the momentum I had.
Colleen Bain. Bain to New York, please. Bain to New York. It's got both of the quarterbacks you hate in it.
After the game,
Slingbade and the Catfish.
After watching these two teams today, I'm not even picking this game. Move on.
Slingbade.
Let's go to Pittsburgh. Neither one of us are going to pick. I'm not going to let you pick either because I despise both those teams after today.
I picked Slingbade.
Pittsburgh Steelers are going to play host to the Cleveland Browns. I can't even get it out of my mouth because I'm so flustered over the New York.
You almost said Cleveland Cavaliers.
Cleveland Cavaliers. LeBron James' old team's coming to town. I'm taking Pittsburgh.
Led by their annoying owner and his retard son, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Get the win in Pittsburgh.
Hey, I bet you I got nothing. Kyrie Irving's going to score 26 in this one. Let's move on. Chicago Bears play host to the Green Bay Packers with the NFC North title on the line. It's going to be hanged above Soldier Field with ladders all around. It's going to be a ladder match. And I'm taking the Chicago Bears to climb the ladder and pull down the NFC North title.
Give me J Cutler to pull the title down because his name starts with J like Jeff Hardy, and he's a good ladder.
I'll take McCown and tip the ladder over, and then Crestman's going to
heel turn
it back up. All right, let's move on. Oakland Raiders playing host to the Denver Broncos. I'm taking the Denver Broncos.
I'm going with Oakland here. They always play good at the end of the season to try to save their jobs, and I don't think Denver really.
Wouldn't that be something?
Is really going to care too much about this game.
Yeah, let's go with New England against New England Patriots. If they win, he'll be here. If they lose, he'll be in my.
He'll be sick.
New England will host Buffalo, so sure to God they can beat Thad Lewis, unlike the Miami Dolphins today. I'm taking New England.
Yeah, New England gets it done in December. They've already lost one game this December. They're not losing another.
Let's go to the Katrina Dome, home of the Hurricanes. New Orleans Saints, I'm about running out of material on them. I'm taking the Saints to beat Tampa Bay. Sorry, Arizona. I think you're out of the playoffs, no matter what your record is.
He's out of hurricane jokes, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm officially out of them.
It took him 16 weeks, but he's officially out of them.
Maybe next year. There's always next year.
His jokes have ran dry like a levee in New Orleans. Give me the Saints.
How about the Arizona Cardinals, 11-5?
They're going to be 11-5 and watching the playoffs.
They're hosting the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to take the 49ers only because I'd hate to see an 11-5 team not make the playoffs.
I'm going with Arizona here just because I think Goodell wants an 11-5 team not to make the playoffs. Conspiracy.
I'm lacking charisma in this
Somebody call Jesse Ventura.
I've been sitting in front of the TV since 12 o'clock watching awful football games, and now I'm sitting here trying to finish this up. It's been a long day, folks. San Diego Superchargers. Hey, they won today. Well, we got to let's put it in right here. Edit. Ill Bill Hardesty, TV producer Raj. We got to have some singing on the program. I want Beans. Edit it in right now. I want him singing.
And Beans won the.
It's my show. I want him singing on it.
Beans just wrapped up the fantasy football champion in the Corporate Monkey League, so he's going to have some extra charisma on this one.
Chargers! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Chargers have won a game, and due to that, you get to hear me sing. Superchargers, San Diego. Superchargers, San Diego. Fucking rolls, yeah!
Superchargers! Give me the Chargers over the Chiefs Man, I want Bean singing in there somewhere. Edit it in. Splice it.
If you notice my picks, I picked Cincinnati to lose, I picked Miami to lose, and I picked San Diego to win and get in the playoffs and make that run that I've been saying.
If that happens, I'm taking San Diego to the Super Bowl all the way. Best for you, Beans. Moving on. Yeah! Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks. I'm still in your line. They're playing host to my St. Louis Rams, who hopefully, and maybe they get the win here. They finish 8-8 right on the season. But I'm gonna take the Seattle Seahawks. I don't know if they're playing for anything. I don't even know if they're gonna play any of their players, but I'm gonna take them anyway.
Yeah, Seattle's not losing 2 games in a row.
They'll definitely get a restock on the Adderall after this week. But well, we're gonna finish it out. A game that you might have a little bit. This is big time on the podcast. We got Riley versus Wes and Ward.
And where's the Cowboys fan? To the Crickets, just like the Owensboro Catholic fans, which he also is. He's not here.
He's not here to defend his Dallas Cowboys that hopefully he's cheering for to lose. So Jason Garrett will lose his job. Either way, I took Dallas. I rode them hard. I had a debate on the program. It was a pretty heated debate, and I was flat out wrong. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles, NFC's champion.
Testify, my brother. He has seen the light. Give me my Philadelphia Eagles to stomp them out.
How can I pick Jason Garrett in a time like this? Philadelphia Eagles all the way. That's all I got.
Screw you, Riley. If you wanted somebody to pick the Cowboys, you should have showed up.
It was a pretty rough pick segment there, but hey, you got Bean singing in there. That's grimy material.
And speaking of singing, right now to wrap up the holiday edition of the podcast, we're gonna kick it to all of our characters. Christmas caroling. This should be interesting.
Jingle bells, a Giselle in the back of Santa's sleigh. That washed-up quarterback Bernie Kosar, baby.
Jingle bells, this shed smells. French fried taters taste great. I really hope I don't throw any more interceptions next game.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a horse open sleigh.
Yo, what's cracking? Jingle bells, prison smells, his welcome is a bitch. Oh, what fun it's gonna be to bury him in a ditch, yo!
Jingle bells, Jotun smell, fire demons we shall slay. Oh, what fun it shall be to take in meat and whores this day.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride one horse open sleigh. One horse open sleigh. Shots and pills, snorted up my nose. The dumpster's cold, growing mold. By Christmas I'll be froze. Yay!
Jingle bells, Hootie sells not a fucking thing, 'cause he sucks.
Jingle bells, the Jets have failed. Rex, go the fuck away. Well, jingle bells, booty smells, pour some Cavatier. Old Jerome can get his own. I'll be knocking boots on Christmas Day, if you know what I'm saying, yeah.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Ask me why I wear the mask, and I will crash your sleigh.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in one horse open sleigh.
Hello, my friends. Casual Fan Reporter here, checking in on the Displaced DieHards podcast, which is available for download every Monday via iTunes and Stitcher Radio. But if you want to see your friends Ward and Turner breaking down the NFL action of the week, then tune in to Time Warner Cable Channel 72 every Saturday night at 10 p.m. But for right now, I want to get serious with you folks. It's kind of a bittersweet feeling right now. I've enjoyed being able to get on here and talk Natural Fighting League action with you for this past year, but the end of the season is near, and the old Casual Fan Reporter will have to hang up his microphone and assless chaps until next season. Oh, sure, we still have the NFL after-season battle, which some people call playoffs. Playoffs? Talk about playoffs? I don't think I'd call them playoffs, because these ferocious beasts aren't playing around at all. But that point aside, I just want to say how much I've enjoyed giving you my hard-hitting analysis, and I just hope that I've been able to touch your lives in a way that is very different from the way I touched that lady at the grocery store the other day, which led to a foot chase back by the cops back to my apartment. But I'm getting off track. let's get back to my final tough call matchup on the NFL schedule for this year as I break down the matchup between the Fighter Jets from New York and the Dolphins of Miami. Now, if you've listened to my analysis on this show before, you know my hatred for the Dolphins. They have led me astray one too many times, and my disappointment in them has turned to bitter rage. However, with all that being said, I look at this matchup and just scratch my head. First off, why the hell would Jets want to fight Dolphins? Seems totally illogical. And what a waste of our country's armed resources, sending jets to South Beach to wage war with aquatic creatures, spending countless rounds trying to reach a creature that you can't possibly kill under those conditions. It's just Looney Tunes, if you ask me. On the other side of the equation, how the hell is a Dolphin expected to combat against the onslaught of hot rounds being fired by a jet? It's not expected to. I kept racking my brain on how to make this call, then it hit me like a wet fish right across the face. As much as I don't want to make this pick, and as much as I feel like I'm going to regret doing this, I'm going to take the Dolphins to eliminate one of our country's top combative forces, but it won't be because the Dolphins are trained killers and can outmaneuver a jet. No, sir, it's because I feel that we will see an emergence of a great historic titan that hasn't shown his majestic face in thousands of years. Yes, I'm talking about the great undersea god Poseidon. He's the ruler of the aquatic mammals, king of the seas, and once he catches wind of those jets bringing a ruckus down to South Beach, well, it'll be game on for those afterburners, and I'm quite certain Poseidon will rain down a great oceanic storm which will cool off those jets and bring victory, finally, to Flipper and all his buddies. I just hope all those residents of Miami update their flood insurance because it's going to be a wet one. Anyway, this is the Casual Fan Reporter saying keep listening, keep watching, and above all else, if you see a blonde-haired giant riding on the back of two dolphins out in the ocean, go put on a raincoat for God's sake. Later. Wonder how Poseidon feels about canned tuna being called chicken of the sea. I'm thinking he doesn't like any of his creatures being called scared.
And with that Yuletide log on the fire, that's going to bring a close to episode number 23, the Christmas edition of the Displaced DieHards. I want to remind you can download a new episode of the podcast every Friday at DisplacedDieHards.com. You can follow us on Twitter at DieHards Podcast. You can listen to us on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. Just search Displaced DieHards. You can also listen to our local sports show called The Homers every Friday on 102.7 The Game before local high school basketball coverage. Follow at The Homers 1027 on Twitter to find out the latest breaking news from all local sports. And you can also watch Displaced DieHards television every Saturday at 10 p.m. on Time Warner Cable, Channel 72. Yippee-ki-yay!
Have a merry Skeeter Dickin' Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho.
Displaced DieHards.
Displaced DieHards.
I am a Displaced DieHard.
I'm a Displaced DieHard.
We are Displaced DieHards.